So, hello everyone. Nice to see you again. Nice to see you all. I think we've got 9 people today. We'll see, maybe we'll have few more because I know that few people said they would like to join this session, and few people sent apologies as well. We cannot see Jill. Oh, we see Jill. Hi, Jill. And
Hello.
hi, Glenys. Nice to see you as well. Nice to see your faces. So, I would like to ask how everyone's doing. Brian, how are you today?
Better than I was last Tuesday when you rang me, or Wednesday. Yeah, when I had my fall.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
A big bruise right across my shoulder down here.
But it's great to know that you're feeling better. Thank you, Brian. And I presume all the stuff you've been doing and activities helps as well. I hope so.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Jean, I've got you next to Brian on my screen. How are you? How are you, Jean Sharp?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Anything exciting you've been doing? Shall we say, maybe each of us, if we can say anything exciting or highlights of our week, that would be nice.
Oh, my highlight has got to be click and collect at Tesco's.
Well done.
That's good. That's good. Marianne, I also would like to ask you about the highlights of your week, because we just decided to talk about it when I asked you about how are you? Any highlights from you, Brian?
Yeah, watching out of my window, and there's some big bird feeders outside, right outside the front back window, and I sit and watch the birds most of the day.
Nice.
That's nice.
And the squirrels and the rats.
Oh,
Rats?
not so nice.
No.
There's a rat comes over here, and I don't know where it's come from, but it comes up and it'll go up onto where the bird seed feeder is. Somehow manages to get inside it and sits there inside with his tail hanging out. His back door came down onto the other part of the feeder where they normally go. He spotted this dangly thing, a tail, outside this feeder, and it grabbed it. Thought it was a worm, and he was holding on there and pulling on it. It was absolutely hilarious watching it.
Oh wow, such a highlights you gave us. Thank you, Brian. Wow, that's really interesting.
Sorry.
Kathleen, you next to on my screen to after Jean. So how are you, and what's your highlights?
I'm fine. I went to a birthday party, the first sort of gathering I've been to, socially distancing, but it was a friend's birthday party. It was very nice.
Oh,
yeah.
Was it, if I may ask, was it Gloria's birthday party? Do you know Gloria? I don't know if you know.
No, it was a neighbor.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
What did you enjoy most about it?
I think just seeing people physically, just being there. And we were sharing food, but we kept our distance. And we had drinks, and it was just a very, very pleasant evening. Yeah, except that somebody did call the police because they thought there was too many of us. But the police came, they were very friendly, and we even offered them food and drinks, and they just went on their way.
Oh my God. So it was more than 6 of you. Is that what?
Yeah. But it was a big area and we were well separated. And we hadn't, and there were several households. So some of the people that were sitting closer were in the same household. And yes, there were probably 12.
But I think if
separated.
I think if you keep the distance, it's not like six people now can meet and I think be less distanced.
Yeah.
If it's more than.
But it was in a private garden. And we were well separated. And I say the police were apologetic. They said they had to come out because somebody had called, but we didn't have any music. It was in the middle of the afternoon. There was no problem.
Oh, okay. Oh, I think it was okay, but it's not me to judge. It's but when police.
Well, they apologized and went on their way and said they had to check it out because they had a call. Well, that was my highlight.
That's a highlight as well. Interesting. Thank you for sharing that with us, Kath. And we've got Margaret next to Kath on my.
Oh, right. Yeah. One highlight this afternoon, I was sat eating my lunch in the conservatory, and suddenly 2 goldfinches were hopping along the wall outside my window. I haven't seen goldfinches for ages and ages. They were obviously a pair, and they were obviously getting grubs and things out of the wall.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought that was lovely.
Such an interesting appearance, especially today when we talk about the nature.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right.
Thank you, Margaret. And I've got Alan next to Margaret. Hello, Alan. How are you? And what's your highlights?
Oh, well, I don't know. A bit down today for some reason. I suppose the highlight since I last saw you was having a couple of food parcels delivered. That's helped out. So
that's nice.
Yeah. That's been okay.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Thanks, Alan.
Okay.
And I have a Glenys next to Alan. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Of course.
Yes. Oh, good. I didn't know whether you could or not.
And we can see you as well.
Good. Yeah, must have done something right.
That's good. So Glenys, how are you? And what's your highlights from the last week or from the last few days?
Pretty quiet, but we did, my son and daughter-in-law came down last Saturday and we went again onto Clennon Valley to the pools again, hoping to see the kingfishers, but we didn't see kingfishers. But there were a pair of swans with their cygnets on, very fluffy, quite young, and they were lovely. Yeah, so we had a picnic there, keeping our distance at all times from each other. But yes, it was lovely.
Thank you, Glenys. Jill, we have Jill next to Glenys, but you are muted, Jill. Can you unmute yourself, please? And would you mind putting a camera a little bit lower down so we can see your face?
There we go.
Oh, yeah, much better. Yes, thank you.
Hello. Hello, nice to meet you. I feel like I'm gate crashing a private party because perhaps you know each other, do you? You all know each other? Or,
it's not like we knew each other before. It's there's Zoom meetings are for people who just would like to join, and we all met at those meetings. I think maybe a couple people knew each other, like Glenys and Kathleen.
Yes.
And then the rest of us, we just from all over the Devon.
Yeah, how nice. So I work in the community anyway, but I've been on the Torbay helpline for the last 7 or 8 weeks. But I wanted to find out about your meeting so I can suggest it to some of my people that I deal with. But Glenys, I must live near you because I walk around Clennon Lakes every day.
Do you?
Well, I
Yeah.
used to with my dog, and she
Yeah.
passed away 2 weeks ago. So,
Oh.
I
Sad.
thought I must try and go there and see if I can see the kingfishers. I've seen them quite often.
Yes, so has my son and my daughter know, but I never see them.
No.
No.
So
But
anyway,
I never gone there on my own. But
no.
no.
But do you live near there?
Yeah, near the big tree.
Oh right, yeah. My
Yes.
garden backs onto the fields at Clennon, so.
Oh, lovely. Yes.
And like you, who was it who said they'd seen the goldfinch? I had 2 goldfinch in my
It was
garden
me.
this week, and then yesterday afternoon I saw, and I don't know if they're, the really small tits with the long. Are they long-tailed tits or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Could
had
be.
6 in the tree. It was like the whole family had come out all at once to play. So yeah, that was lovely.
Oh, thank you, Jill. Thank you for joining as well. So, I hope you can stay with us as well for the rest of the
Yeah.
session, and I hope you will enjoy.
Thank you.
We'll be talking about love for nature, and yes, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Excuse me while I eat a sandwich, though, in a minute.
Don't worry. Don't worry. And next to Jill, we have Val. Hi, Val. What's your highlights? How are you? You are muted, so perhaps you can unmute yourself before you start talking. Oh yeah.
Oh,
my internet keeps saying it's unstable, so you keep freezing on me and then playing up. So I hope I can stay with you.
Okay. I saw you all the time from the beginning, so looks like you're still connected. When it's freezing, just be patient because it happens to me sometimes. Not today, but it happened.
Up now.
We can see you, and we can hear you.
Full frozen again. Oh, that's better. It's back again.
Okay. So Valerie, how are you, and what's your highlights from the last few days?
Back on a train.
Okay.
And helping, doing some gardening at the wall garden in East Cliff Park in Tinmouth.
That's nice. I'm not sure if we could hear everything from you, but I've heard that you did some gardening and you went to Tinmouth for some.
I went. There's a walled garden. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Now I can hear you.
There's a walled garden where you can go and help and weed stuff. So I started doing that this week. That's a big thing for me to start doing something like that in the community.
That's really, really nice. Thank you. So did you enjoy it? Did you like it?
I was tired though because I'm not that fit for gardening, but it was peaceful.
That's lovely. Thank you, Val. And we have a new participant. I think it's Elizabeth. Is it Elizabeth?
Yeah, it is. Hello.
Hi, Elizabeth. How are you?
Lisa.
Oh, so it's Lisa. Sorry, because it's Lisa. Yes. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
So, not too bad.
We're just asking people how are they and what's their highlights from the day or week. Do you have any highlights to tell us?
Oh, I went out on the seafront and I haven't been able to do that till now. So that's really good. It's nice to see it.
That's nice. Thanks. Thank you for sharing. And hello, Lisa. Nice to see you. Thank you, guys. So, as you know, today is love for nature. And I've got some questions. I've prepared some questions for today, but also I know that you prepared some stuff, each of you, And I also have an email from one of the participants who's not able to join us because she doesn't have enough internet, and she prepared something for us to hear. So she read an email to me. She wrote an email to me, and she asked me if I can read it because it's about her love for nature. So I hope you don't mind. I can read it now, or maybe I can read it at the end of the session. But I think it will be nice to read it now, so we can maybe start up the conversation. Yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
So her name is Diana. She lives in Teignmouth, and as I said, she's not able to join us because of internet issues. Okay, so she said, "Hi Aggie, thank you for sending me the email about the meeting for next week discussion, Love for Nature, a subject very close to my heart. Although I don't attend the live Zoom meetings, I always look at them on the email following the meetings." So it's really nice that she watches the meetings after our live meeting. Here is a note giving some of my reasons for loving nature and the latest on the birds I'm watching in my garden at the moment. I think my passion for wildlife probably goes back to when I was about 4 years old, and I used to go out with my dad at 5 o'clock in the morning to fetch the cows in for milking. He was a farmer and I adored him. I remember those days still, the freezing early mornings and the big dark sky full of stars. I used to walk the fields with him and hear the skylarks, and he would show me the tiny baby lapwings running about the stony fields where the mother lapwing would make a little dip amongst the soil and stones in which to lay her eggs. He taught me all kinds of things about the birds and wildlife on a farm. He was a keen gardener too, something that many farmers are not. He grew all our vegetables. I became a gardener too and have always been a very keen bird watcher. Now, all these years later, having become disabled, my small garden is where I see the birds from my dining room window. The blackbirds have built a nest for the 3rd year running, this time in the thick ivy covering a wall. They are now rearing the 2nd brood this year. I think the 1st brood produced only 2 chicks, and of those, one well-grown bird visits my garden regularly. The 2nd brood hatched last week, and both parents are busy all day long bringing big flues of worms to feed the babies. I will have to wait another couple of weeks before the babies fledge, and I might be lucky enough to see the first faltering flights and to find out how many there are this time. There are families of sparrows too, and a crowd of them visit the garden every day to eat from the bird feathers and drink and bath in the bird baths and pick the green flea of plants and the apple trees. Watching them makes me feel good. I hope these 2 paragraphs tell you a bit about my interest and love of nature. Please say hello to all the participants at the Zoom meeting. Love to you, Aggie, Diana.
Very nice.
Thank you. I felt quite emotional when I was reading it because I felt it was really lovely letter to all of us about Diana's love for nature. Mm-hmm. So thank thank you for listening, and I'm sure Diana will be watching us later on. So hi Diana, nice to hear from you from the letter. So maybe we should start a conversation, and I've got a few questions, and then maybe each of us could say something from your side about what you prepared. So maybe if I could ask you, like, why do you think we should connect with the nature? And if someone would like to say something, please put your hands up, maybe, and then we can have a conversation. So why do you think we should connect with nature? Valerie. Yeah.
Part of nature in any way. We're just part of the whole thing. So we're another living thing that's part of the whole. So we can't live disconnected from what we are, can we? And what makes us. I don't know. I think it's very good for our health.
Yes, I agree. So we should connect with nature because it's good for our health. We are part of the nature. Any other thoughts?
Well,
Kathleen and then Jill. Yes, Kathleen?
no, I think it keeps us grounded because it's real. It's not false like anything else. It's it is life, and you see the whole thing. You know, you see, we all like seeing the birds and watch the babies and watch them flying. And I think it's everything about nature is pretty, isn't it? When you see flowers, and how can you not feel good?
Yes, I agree. Thank you, Kathleen. Jill, you did put your hands up.
I did, but yeah, I think it just it makes you feel connected to what's going on, doesn't it? And at the moment, you have a little bit more time sometimes to see what's happening around you. So yeah, seeing the birds are sounding more, well, louder, and and you've got maybe a few more minutes to look and see what's going on out there, which is lovely.
Yes, thank you. Any other thoughts of why we should connect with nature? Alan, what about you?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously, like everybody else, I like it, but I'm worried about the future. You know, it's all lovely at the moment, but if we go back to the way we were, we're just going to end up wiping everything out. You know, we're already using all these different species all over the place. So if it goes back to the way it was, this nice little respite that they're having is going to be nothing.
That's true.
But I don't honestly think it's going to go back to the way we were, unfortunately. It's a new world.
I agree with you.
I don't think things are ever going to be the same.
No.
So I think it's something we have to adapt to. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, everything's thriving. Animals that weren't seen in places. The rivers are so much cleaner, the oceans. But I don't think it's ever going to be like it was 3 months ago.
Yeah.
That's just...
Any other thoughts on this? Because it's a very important topic you just put, Alan and Jean, and I think it's important for us also to think about how we can save the nature or preserve, or what can we do differently to make it struggle less, if I can say that.
I mean, with all this going on, there's still continuing with the HST project, still ploughing through ancient woodlands, disturbing, getting rid of the old trees that have been there for hundreds of years, disturbing all the wildlife that lives there, depends on it. So, it's, I don't know, we've got to change a lot. The whole thing has got to change.
Yeah, I think they've got to change as well with house building. They just plough into any green field they fancy, and there's a load of wildlife gone.
Yeah.
And it's just going on and on and on. And it's so sad that before long, Dawlish is going to be connected to Exeter in some shape or form.
Exactly. It's going to be exactly the same as the other side of the estuary, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I was growing up, you left Exeter, there was green space to Topsham, and a green space to Exeter, green space to Limstone, green space down to Exeter. Now it's just filled up virtually all the way.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's such a shame.
Yeah. So for the housing, there's loads of houses in this country that are just stood empty. They're not for sale, they're not for rent. If I was in charge, I'd say, right, these houses that's been stood here for empty for all these years, don't care what some estate agent says, it's £50,000, that's what we're getting for it. We're going to get local decorators, plumbers, electricians in, get them up to standard, and put people in there. Safe building on green fields, and it gives people the housing all over the place. You can quite easily do it, right? Building on new stuff all the time.
Thank you, Alan. Thanks for sharing, guys, all those thoughts and your opinion about that. That was really interesting to hear, to listen you as well. So maybe now we can share stuff we brought, because I know that each of you, most of you, prepared something. So I don't know, anything it was very freedom of choice what we wanted, we can prepare. So can I start? Has anyone prepared something and would like to start with talks? Or like Jean says no.
No, mine will be off the top of my head because I thought this was last week, and last week I wasn't here. So but I can only tell you what happens in my garden, really. So
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I do have. I have a nice garden. It's full of pots and plants and bird-loving stuff. I have had a family of blue tits. They fledged early one morning, 6 o'clock. Well, even though they come out the box, they can take anything up to a day to get the strength in their wings to actually fly off. So I was on duty because there's a so-called house cat next door to me, but it likes my garden better. So after the 3 blue tits had fledged and I found out where they were, I was then on duty to make sure that the cat didn't get them. And luckily enough, he didn't. And I'm also having baby goldfinches in. I've got quite a lot of those. Sparrows. Blackbird that comes and asks for raisins every day. He'll sit on the fence and tut away till he gets his raisins. And they don't use the bird bath. I've got another bath with a fountain in. They prefer to use that one. But yeah, I mean, I get quite a lot of different birds in the garden, which is rather nice. I don't like seagulls in. I don't encourage them at all, and I don't like magpies. I think they're quite destructive birds as well. Yeah. They'll take young chicks or whatever for their own But I suppose that's nature, really.
It is, yeah.
But there you go. That's my garden.
Your garden seems like a really lovely place to watch.
It gets the sun all day. Gets the sun from 11 o'clock in the morning, so it's lovely.
Oh, well, Jean, would you mind sending us some pictures so I can send, because I still haven't sent those pictures from Kathleen with the with swans, so I can collect everything.
Okay.
And I can send one email with some pictures of you guys, from you guys, so that we can you know, have a nice moment of watching them, looking at them.
Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you. So, Kathleen, you next to Jean. So maybe you can tell us what you've got.
Well, I haven't prepared anything either. But you've touched on one of my things that I like, which is swans. I watch swans, and fortunately, I live in Torquay. We got a little park locally, and we had a pair of nesting swans. They laid eggs the end of March. They sat on the eggs. Normally they hatch in 6 weeks. 9 weeks went by. These poor swans sat day and night on these eggs. They did not hatch. And then one by one, something, I don't know if it was animal, vegetable or mineral, something took the eggs. And now the swans are just back on the lake without anything, in an empty nest. Very sad. But I too went to Clennon Valley last week, and I too saw the cygnets there, and there were 6 cygnets. They're 2 weeks old, and they're lovely. And it was very sad because the swans here in Torquay should have had those same age swans, the babies. But back in my lake, there are a couple of ducks have just hatched little ducklings. So I've got photographs of like day-old ducklings. While I was standing there, you talk about seagulls, a seagull swooped down and snatched one of these little ducklings. And it was horrible. You can't do it. It's very quick. Can't do a thing about it.
Oh, wow.
But it's very sad, but like you say, it's nature, and they've got to feed their babies. So what I like about nature is photographing things and doing things with the photographs. So I go out for walks and I look for ducks and birds, and even I'm not wild about seagulls, but I do find them fascinating when they're doing certain things. You know, if you can catch them stealing an ice cream or doing something naughty, and you get that moment in time. And then I post a lot of my pictures on Facebook. And then I get a lot of like ego tripping from when people give me likes for my photographs. I don't get out much. So that's my love of nature.
Thank you, Kathleen. So please share some pictures if you have a few more. That would be lovely to have.
Well, let me see if I can see my. Let me see if I can find these little ducklings. See, oh, there they are. See if that can. See if that. Can you see that? Did that come up?
Yeah.
I can see them.
Yeah, that's the ones from Clennon Valley. I don't know how I get back.
Oh, you just got lovely.
So they're 2 weeks old. They were 2 weeks old last week. So I like sharing those sort of things. Oh, and that was some other one. Let me see if you can see those. So these are the ones on my pond. It's a little moorhen thing. So
it's 9 of them.
Yeah.
There were about 20 between the two birds, but they were commingling, so you couldn't tell whose babies were who, because these are different ducks, and they're sharing their babies. So.
Oh. And obviously they didn't care about social distancing.
Oh, absolutely not. And the two mums were really happy they didn't care whose babies they were. They were just all swimming along, and the babies were just following anybody. It didn't matter. And then the seagulls start taking them.
Oh.
So there you
Yeah.
go.
Thank you. That was really interesting, Kathleen. And I really like the pictures from you. It looks like you've got a really good eye of taking pictures as well, like spotting stuff.
I
Like
do, things appeal to me, and scenery. I go for walks, and I like on the coast. I get sort of scenery, and it really, it's just sort of, I've got to see that. I've got to capture that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I do.
That's lovely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this with us as well. It looks like it's another passion of you as well from you.
Just for some reason, I think swans are just the prettiest things going.
Thank you. Glenys, what about you? Can you tell us a little bit about your love for nature?
Yes, my son and daughter-in-law live on the edge of Dartmoor, where they have a sizable garden. Their garden is very much designed for the nature stroke wildlife, same thing. A few years ago, a pool was dug out. The pool includes a little jetty where they can admire the pond life, including dragonflies and the many-coloured damselflies and newts, etc. The pond may be described as smallish, but it is big enough to be interesting, and close to trees and a small river, which is a contributor of the River Dart. They have visitors from there, and they are the mandarin ducks. They are regular visitors to their pond because they don't like too big a pond, and they are known as the most beautiful duck ever. So they are native to China, Japan, Korea, and Eastern Russia. They were imported to England in the mid-18th century because of their beautiful colours, the beautiful colours of the male mandarins. Once the nesting first of all, the most peculiar way of nesting. They nest in holes in trees. Or possibly even nest boxes. They don't mind those. They prefer densely wooded areas near wetlands and water. Soon after they hatch, they jump from the nest, sometimes 50 feet in the air, landing on the ground, where they can make their way to a pond. They spend much of their time perching on branches. Once mating is over, the males shed all their brightly coloured feathers and look just like the mandarin female ducks, which have dull brownish grey feathers and a dull beak, whereas the male has a red beak. Once a duckling's hatch, the male is so rotten he deserts his family.
Oh,
He's very naughty.
How come we've heard that before?
Leaving his female partner to raise the 9 to 12 ducklings. Once he has left, he starts then to grow new colourful colours for feathers, ready for the next breeding season. So he's after the next lot of women. Yes, what else have I put? Oh, they come from the AIX genus, AIX genus, which contains a mandarin duck and the wood duck. I've never heard of that before. I don't know whether anybody has.
What, a wood duck?
Wood duck, yes.
Yeah, I have heard of it. I don't know anything about them.
Well, they're native somewhere, which is similarly colourful, like the mandarin male duck, and they are very close relatives, but they've originated in North America. As its name implies, it requires wooded cover for nesting. So mandarin ducks don't quack. They make chirping sounds. But they can make a shrill alarm-like sound as well to signal danger. They used to live about 6 or 7 years but can't clock up 10 years. And one evening, a friend of mine and myself were up at their house, and we just had our meal under a willow tree or a tree of some kind, just near the pond. And suddenly the mandarin ducks decided to zoom down. And they, as I say, they perch a lot in the tree branches. And they were pair after pair came down in the pond. It was nearly full. And it was the most wonderful sight. We were thrilled to bits, to be honest. And so lovely memories of that evening. It will never leave me. So I love nature, yes. I love all forms of nature, yes. Yeah, so there we go.
Thank you so much, Glenys. That was really, really interesting what you read to us. And thank you for preparing stuff as well. Thank you. Lisa, do you have anything as well? Would you like to say a few words about love for nature?
I've written something down very quick. Yeah, you have a big enough garden, you have plenty of space, lovely birds, you have sparrows, magpies, robins, feed on our feeder, and on the roof, unfortunately, we've got seagulls that usually go and nest up at the top of the house. And what happened this year was, when we had all the rain, they must have made a couple of holes in our house at the top and the next door neighbour. So when we had all that rain, inside our house got flooded.
Oh no.
It came down the back, but somebody's gone up there now and made sure it's all right now, but they've come back. We thought they might go away, but they've come back. Me and my family are getting the garden ready for this year. So we're going to be going off to get some flowers and things like that. My daughter's been out gardening, which she's not done before, which is a lovely thing to see. As for nature, we don't like to see the litter that's being dumped in these roads and things like that around the country at the moment. I think that's really sad.
Yeah.
Seeing all that's happened to those areas where there's going to be nature. We love going across the road to us. We have a lovely big garden. The lady did the garden from nothing, and we can go over and sit in it, and it's lovely. There's lovely trees and lots of flowers, and there's a pond where you can see what's in the pond. She also, you can go and buy from pots over the road. So that's why we've been growing some out of our garden. Yes, around here there is a lot of people who does a lot of gardening, and we've had a look around those. I don't know if any of you have heard of, they don't do it now, when you used to go round different gardens in your area. You could go and have a cup of tea, jam and things like that. And that was really good. They used to do that across the road as well. We really do like nature. My biggest thing is horses. So
like my daughter.
I love horses. I like to go and see them. But I think that'd be nice. Mind you, I don't think I'll be like the Queen. She's amazing riding a horse. How old is she now, I think? What is she now? The Queen?
94. Yeah.
On a horse.
Yeah.
Good on her.
Oh.
So we are surrounded by lots of nature and lots of lovely birds and things like that. So you can spend your time in somebody else's garden, or they can come over and see us sometimes when we can. long as there's only 6 of us, of course. So, yeah, that's what happens in our garden.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for sharing that with us as well.
Okay.
Really interesting. Margaret, what about you?
Yes. I don't know whether you can see this. Oh God, I can't.
You.
No.
You need to bring this more to the camera.
Sorry?
You need to bring this more to the camera.
Yeah, there he is. A green
Oh,
bird. Now I don't know whether anybody knows what it is.
Can you turn the camera around? Upright.
The phone. Can you put the phone like this?
I'm trying to hold my iPad in one hand and then
Oh, okay. If you could put your phone on that way, a little bit, your right, more to the right.
that way.
Oh yeah, almost a little bit.
I got my fingers on it. That's
I may.
I can't. I just wondered whether anybody knew what this bug was. I found it on my wheelie bin yesterday.
Oh, okay. So what is it? Do you know what it is?
I think the picture's gone.
I'll send you this picture.
We've lost the picture because the phone just put
Yeah, okay, I'll send it to you, Aggie.
Okay,
That's
yes,
the best
please.
way. And if anybody can tell me what it is, that would be brilliant. Also, we've got, I don't know whether I can find that one. I can send that one as well. We've got a fish pond in our garden.
Oh, right.
Goldfish in. Probably about 50 goldfish, I think.
Wow.
Which I spend a lot of time looking at. I find it very restful. And I mean, they're just so good. We've been really lucky recently that we haven't had seagulls. They have tried in the past to come and sort of whisk the fish out, but I think our fish have got wise to it now. And when there's any shadow or anything over the pond, they just disappear down below in the water. So we don't get that.
Clever.
Okay, there's just one plant that I've got that I would like to show you.
Okay.
Is that's it? No, that's it.
Oh, I think I know what it is. I don't know what is the English word for that, but my mom has this plant as well.
It's called crown of thorns.
Crown of thorns.
Yes.
Yeah. I was a really naughty girl. I sneaked a piece from a plant in Greece.
Well done.
But I mean, and in fact, I've had lots of pieces off of it that I've given to other people. I've just, it's in the conservatory and it really loves the sunshine and the light. So I'm really pleased with that.
I think when you break it, it keeps out the white milky thing.
Yes, that's right. Yes, it's got like a resin in the middle. Yes,
yeah. I think it's poisonous.
Is it?
Yeah. Just be careful.
Don't drink it. No.
No, and don't lick your fingers after that.
No, that's right. Sorry, but that is all I've got for today. I seem to have had a busy week.
Yeah, that's fine. It's lovely. Thank you so much for sharing this, and thank you for showing us the plant. And if you send me a picture, I will send it out, and between all of us, we will sort it out. Don't you worry what it is.
Okay, I'll do that then, Aggie. Yeah.
Thank you. And who else we've got? We've got Alan. Alan, would you like to tell something about Love for Nature and what your thoughts?
Well, I live in a flat, so. Yeah, I've got no animals or anything here. I've got about 8, 10 plants, something like that, strewn around the place. We've got magpies and that live nesting across the road, and obviously seagulls and that. So, I see a fair few bits and pieces going on during the day. I have seen a fox in the road wandering about. Yeah. I just quite like natural stuff.
That's good. Thank you. Thanks, Alan.
Okay.
I think as you said at the beginning as well, it's because you said you worry a little bit about the nature, about the future. So it's important to keep this in mind as well, about how we treat the nature, and then if we treat the nature well, the nature will treat us well as back.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing this, Alan, with us as well. And Jill, would you like to say something as well? Because I think it's important to give everyone's voice. And yes, please, if you have some thoughts about love for nature.
Well, I'm a bit like Kat or Catherine. I spend my time outside, so that's my pleasure when I'm not working. And I was just trying to, but I'm on my work computer, so I haven't got my photos on here to show you, and I was trying to email them to myself to share with you, because my lockdown has been incredibly hard work, lots and lots of work and long hours. But when I've not been working, I've been out walking. So I've who was it who said they liked horses? Lisa, that was you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
As a child, I lived on the edge of Exmoor. And so I was brought up riding other people's horses, was lucky enough to have my own. But I've been in lockdown with my dad, who's 91 and lives in Minehead. So I've been working, but I've been staying with him. So I've been walking every track that I knew. When I've not been working, I've been walking around. He lives in Minehead, so Minehead's surrounded by hills. And it's the most beautiful place if you know where you're going. So every pony track that I've ever ridden, I've walked in lockdown, and I've got some beautiful photos which I've taken of trees. And but one particular day I walked up onto North Hill, which was my childhood stomping ground, and I came across a deer who just stood in the track, and I walked up towards it with the dog. And
Wow.
and I had turned my camera on as well and I will try and find a photo to show you, because I turned the camera on and walked towards it, and it just stood there and it wasn't going to move. God. And so as I walked towards it, it carried on eating. It had a scratch. I videoed it. I videoed it for 8 minutes, just stood there, and I was talking quietly as I was towards it. And in the end, it was me that moved on and not the deer. The deer just kind of ambled into the side of the woodland. And yeah, I've never, I've walked and ridden for years around that area, and I've seen deer at a distance, but this one he wasn't bothered about me at all. And I did take a lovely photo that now I can't find, because that's always the way, isn't it? But of this deer just stood in the middle of the track, and I will find it because I'm very proud of it. But I went along the moor, and lots of Exmoor ponies were up on North Hill as well. But so lockdown's been a case of really hard work, because I was working 12-hour shifts on the helpline every other day. And then interspersed with just lots of amazing, beautiful spring walks around Somerset, so around West Somerset. But I am almost there. I should have it. There it is. I'm going to have to show it to you on my tablet, and I don't think it will come out very well, but I don't know if you can see.
Yes, we can see. Can you bring it a little bit further?
Yeah.
I've got the reflection on, haven't I?
Yeah, you've got
the reflection.
Yeah. There.
Lovely.
Look at
Lovely.
that.
But I was trying to share it onto the screen, but it was amazing. It just stood there and looked at me.
Would you mind sending us those pictures as well, so we can share it?
Yeah, I need to. I was trying to send them to my work computer to share with you, and I couldn't. So
that's okay. So I send you my email address. So if you could send it to me.
Yeah, that's a help, isn't it?
.org.uk. Okay, I think I've sent it to everyone. So just you know, as you know, then. Thank you, Jill, so much for sharing this. It was lovely to you know, to get this from you as well. And we've got Valerie back as well. Hi, Val.
Sorry, it's took me all this time to get my internet working.
That's okay. Don't worry. But
Like this Zoom meeting, it breaks every time.
maybe it's something to do with internet this time.
Yay.
Are you okay right now?
Frozen.
Are we all frozen? Okay. I did hear you a moment ago.
Yeah, I think she's frozen.
She's frozen. Oh, because I wanted to give Val an opportunity to talk about the love for nature, but I'm not sure if she can hear us. I think, again, the internet's gone in her case. Let's wait, you know, few seconds, but in the meantime, maybe, oh, she's gone.
She's gone.
She's gone. That's a shame. Looks like she's disconnected because of some issues, but okay, let's see, maybe she will be back. But nevertheless, it was such an interesting session today. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and you know, your own stories about how you love nature and what you do in your gardens. I've had one activity I wanted to do with you, but I think it's too late because it's already 3 o'clock and I don't want to extend time. Maybe we can do it sometimes next week. I wanted to ask you a couple questions and put you in a groups as we did last week. Harry taught me how to do it, so I know now. So I wanted to impress you all with my skills. So I thought, I will put I will put people in a groups, and I've got 2 questions we can discuss. But let's do it next week, maybe.
Yes.
Let me impress you next week with this. But I can give you those questions now. So next week you will know what we can talk about it, okay? So I was thinking of asking you, what does nature give us? What nature gives us? I don't know, you can think of anything: water, medicine, relief, I don't know, anything you would like to, you know, put. So think about it. What nature gives to us? And the second one would be, how can we help to save the nature? So partly what Alan actually did touch with Jean today. So what can we do personally from our side, or generally like a whole world, to save the nature? Okay, so if you could think of these questions, and maybe next week we can start the conversation around this topic, and then we can, you know, we can either carry on the same topic as this week, or now it's a time for us to come up with another topic. So it's on your thoughts, guys. I'm quiet, I'm silent, I'm waiting.
What topics have you had so far?
We've had quizzes, couple quizzes. We've had shiatsu and mindfulness session with lovely Santhia. We've had just general conversation, how are we? We've had chair dance exercises. What else did we have? Oh, stamp collection stuff.
Oh, yeah.
From lovely Kathleen and Brian. It was great. I really enjoyed that because it was a new thing to me. I can't remember what
travel. We had the travel one last week. Favorite places.
Travel, favorite places. So it's really up to us, up to you. What else we would like to talk about?
How about who's going to get the first haircut?
Oh.
You've got it, have you, Kat?
Okay, let's go as one of the topics.
Yes. I look like a shaggy dog.
I used to have short hair.
Yeah, mine was really short.
Oh, I know what else would we have. Just as I remember now. Sorry, just to interrupt your thoughts. But we also have like jokes. Do you remember? We've had like
jokes, yeah.
Jokes.
About limericks. We could have the first line of a limerick, and we have to write one or something.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to. Somebody says a line, and somebody else has got to carry it on.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because you can go in all directions and nothing like the beginning.
I can see myself struggling with that, but carry on, guys. As you know, English is my second language. Can I finish in Polish then?
Yes.
As long as you can translate, yeah.
I thought you were going to give us a tour of where you lived, Aggie.
I also hope to I will be able to do this, and I tried. I did some testing with Harry, my colleague. I remember he joined us last week, and Harry said that it was just like, it wasn't really smooth. So no. I think I still would like to do that, but I would like to improve the quality and make sure that it's not gonna be very low quality session because of my problems. So I still would like to do it, and it would be lovely. Even for today, I prepared a very short video of my town and wild horse, my area from Poland, and wild horses, which is like a memory of my childhood. They called tarpan, and I thought I can show it to you, but I wasn't able. It's not easy video. No. But I hope I can do that sometimes in the future. So bear with me, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So are we saying limericks?
Limericks.
Yeah. Well, where one starts it, then the other one puts the next line, and the other one puts the next line.
That's not limericks. That's like Mad Libs.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, maybe we could do both. So we could have a line that we're all given, and then we have to carry it on ourselves to prepare it.
Jill, give us a line. What about once was a group of ladies from Devon?
There we go. There once was some ladies from Devon, and then you can carry it on.
Yeah.
And couple gentlemen.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we can add them in somewhere.
They can be added in as we go along.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're gonna laugh so much about that. Are you guys okay? Are you happy with this? Carry on with Love for Nature for a little bit, then ad libs, whatever it means. I have to check because this is the first time I've heard of this, so I don't know.
Ad lib.
Mad, yeah, I don't know what's
Mad.
Mad, like crazy. Mad.
Yes, Mad Lib. Like Jean said, somebody says a line, and then somebody else has to say the next line, like telling a story, and then a third person.
But it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, but you've got to think on your feet.
Yeah.
A limerick is a certain. It has a structure. It has rules. It has to.
5 lines, isn't it?
Yeah, it has to have rules, and it has to finish. And certain alternate lines rhyme, and it has to finish with sort of like a punchline.
Okay. Okay.
Google it, Abby.
Yes, I'm actually Googling how to spell limerick.
And we're not talking about the place in Ireland either.
Yes.
Okay, so
Mad Lib, L-I-B.
Oh, B. Mad Lib. Yeah. Oh, I thought it's Mad Lib. So you mad when that was
Mad Libs.
I need to put it because I make an email after each session with Mad Lib.
Live.
Ah, okay. English, it's so difficult.
Us? Oh, yeah.
It is. It is.
Did I tell you last week or last time that I wasn't sure what powder ham means?
Oh, yes.
But
Yeah.
I think Val explained that ham is like a hamlet and powder, maybe they made powder.
No,
Gun-
it was powder is from, I looked it up. It's
Oh.
from the Dutch, a Dutch word meaning polder, like a dam, and it meant it was marshland, a hamlet near marshland.
Oh,
Right.
right. Wow.
Well
Thanks
done.
for looking it up, Kathleen. Did you also check butterfly?
No, I did not.
Oh, please do then.
I will do.
Because we were thinking, Jill, you don't know because you weren't with us last week. I just said that sometimes English is so funny to me because I don't know why butterfly is named as a butterfly when it's butter, like a
And
fat,
fly.
and fly. Oh, and the powder ham was another example. Yeah. Oh well, it is how it is, isn't it? So we've got a topic: Mad Lib and limericks. Yes.
Yeah.
And so task for you guys for the next week would be to prepare something like
That limerick.
oh
A
yeah.
Prepare a limerick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whose barking idea was that?
Jill.
Jill, you must join us because we were already waiting for your limericks and your Mad Libs.
No, Mad Lib we all do, so we take it in turns, and a limerick we can all do a limerick as well. So,
Okay.
Try.
And what was the first line? There was a group
There
of
once
ladies
were
from
some ladies from Devon.
yeah, there was.
Oh, so we need to start on that.
Yeah, and it goes.
That's the first line, and you've got to add another is it 5 lines.
Right.
It's
Four lines?
five in
Right.
total, isn't it?
Yeah.
There once
So add
were
4 lines.
ladies. from
Okay, Kathleen, can you say it again? What was that? So I will need to put it in an email.
Okay. There once were some ladies from Devon.
Maybe Alan's should be. There once was a man from Devon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shall I put in brackets and men?
Yes. Or men, not just
Some
one.
men, yeah, some
Yeah.
men.
From Devon.
Margaret, where you gone? I can only see the hair.
Oh, she's
Oh, yes, yes.
That's it.
Sorry, I keep moving my iPad.
So thank you guys. Such a lovely conversation we've had and lovely topic. And as always, before we go, I hope you don't mind to use your couple of your minutes. I know already, Kathleen, you've had crumpets, but what did you have? What each of you
What did you have for breakfast?
Kathleen, am I wrong?
I had crumpets, but I didn't have marmite. I had marmalade.
Oh, wow, such a different.
Yeah. I'm getting out the mold. Okay.
You're getting lazy.
Yeah. I'm living wild.
Oh, wow, yes, you are.
What they say, pushing the boat out.
Yeah.
That'd be another one.
Glennis, what did you
Another
have?
one, isn't it? Yeah.
Sorry, Jill, you were saying?
Well, we should have another one. Would be English sayings for Aggie, couldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Another session. Yeah.
That's an interesting topic as well. Yeah. Sorry, Glennis, what did you have for breakfast?
I had my usual porridge this morning, but not with blueberries this morning. I had sultanas in it.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you. Margaret. Okay. Margaret.
I just had a Weetabix.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Lisa, what about you? What did you have for breakfast?
I had fruit and fibre.
Lovely. And what about your daughter, Rachel? What she had for breakfast?
What did you have for breakfast?
I had cocoa pops.
Cocoa Pops.
Cocoa Pops. Nice. Jean, what about you?
Well,
Two wheat.
Oh, sorry. Jean.
Yeah, English is my second language, you know. Jean, I've had that issue before.
2 Weetabix, strawberries, raspberries, and grapes.
Oh, goodness.
Very nice.
Heaven to my ears and my stomach. Alan, what about you?
Oh, I just had some porridge this morning.
Nice. And Jill, what about you? What did you have for breakfast?
I didn't, but my son gave me a sausage sandwich whilst I joined you. So
I was going to ask what you had in your sandwich.
it was a wrap with 2 spicy sausages in it. It's very nice.
Oh, I'm hungry now. I've had my lunch, but I'm always hungry, you know. I could eat leftovers. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. And also, before we go, I also would like to encourage you to look up on internet about coconut crabs. Have you heard of those animals? Coconut crab?
Yeah.
Coconut crab?
Yeah, I just read about them last week because I thought I can talk about them as well. Look up at them. It's a very interesting creature. Coconut, like coconut, you know, and crab.
Coconut crab?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alan knows what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you so much. We know what we're doing next week. If you know anyone who would like to join us, please invite them. As you know, it's a very friendly meeting. And thank you so much for today, and hopefully see you next week, and have a lovely rest of the week.
Thank you, Aggie.
Bye.
Bye.
Can you put your email up again?
Bye.
Bye.